Hey folks, welcome to the show. Glad you joined us today. We're going to have a great episode. We have Dr. Patrick Gunn, who's the cow-calf extension specialist at Iowa State University. He's a ruminant nutritionist. We're going to talk about something that is probably one of the most economically driven things that you need to do for your cow herd, which is testing your hay. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Dr. Patrick Gunn.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Folks, welcome to DocTalk. Dr. Gunn, welcome to DocTalk.
Thanks for having me.
Folks, this is Dr. Patrick Gunn, and he is the Extension Cow-Calf Specialist here for Iowa State University in the Department of Animal Science. Cover the state. I know that you cover a lot more than just the state. You do a lot across our country in cow-calf nutrition and an expert in cow-calf nutrition, folks. Today we're going to talk about hay testing.
Yep, absolutely. Well, obviously, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of producers overlook, particularly right now when we're in this period of tight margins, is we start looking for ways to cut costs. And I think, philosophically, for me, one of the worst ways we can go about cutting costs is not testing our forage in the first place. Because if we're not testing our forage, any supplementation scheme that we've got going on is a complete guess. So if we're under supplementing, we're probably losing production in some way, shape, or form. If we're over supplementing, obviously we're wasting money. So, as we talk about forage testing in general, I think it's a greatly underutilized process on most operations, and most of all, I think it's probably one of the best return on investments we can have for any given operation.
Yeah, and I see that all the time. Just like what you're saying, we're sitting there going, oh, we're gonna step over dollars to pick up a dime, and when we're not testing our hay, you start to think about under supplementing if we'd have a harsh winter, and body condition score on our cows, and then breed back potential. It could be economically a wreck by something as simple as hay test.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even beyond body condition score and breed back, there's been tons of research done, some of it by Kansas State in the late 70s up into the mid 90s that looks at body condition score and late gestation nutrition, how it affects not only breed back, not only general body condition score, but quality of colostrum, amount of colostrum, long-term health of those calves. So, it's really imperative that we make sure that nutritional status is correct all the way through late gestation, clear through lactation.
Right. So now, after you get hay in, is there any time period that you need to wait till after you put up hay, or can you just, if hay comes in and it's put up, I can start testing immediately on when it's coming in and on arrival?
Well, if it's really dry, if it's 90% dry matter, you can probably get by with testing it right away. Typically, we say test it as close to the time of feeding as possible. That allows you to still make your rations and supplements as need be. But when you bring that hay in, even if it's 80-85% dry matter, it's going to go through a sweat a little bit, and we're going to bind up some nutrients. So the big thing is allow yourself enough time to develop your supplementation scheme, but do it as closely as you can to the time of feeding it.
Okay. Well, when some of the things that we're going to talk about today, you said, how many samples, what kind of samples to take, where to sample the bale. I think that when we think about different ways of storing it and making sure that hay quality is maintained, this is just going to be a great show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. It's great to have you, folks. This is Dr. Patrick Gunn. He's a cow-calf extension specialist here at Iowa State University. When we come back, we're going to talk about how many samples to take, which way to take those samples, and then what you're going to do with the samples after you get them. It's a great show. Stay tuned. More from Ames, Iowa after these messages.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet. Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
We do business with Blueville because of the quality of their work. It is excellent quality, and because they make a commitment to their customers.
We enjoy the benefits of hiring a good company to help us maintain this home.
We will always do business with Blueville. We have for many, many years, and there's no reason for us to look for any other service.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Patrick Gunn. We're at Iowa State University, where Dr. Gunn serves as the cow-calf extension specialist for the state of Iowa and beyond. He's a ruminant nutritionist, and we're talking about hay sampling, which is something that is just, can't believe anybody that has any cows wouldn't do it, but they don't. But let's talk about how you go about it. Let's just walk through samples and tests and how you take those samples and different things of that measure.
Absolutely. As we talked before, I think it's a grossly underutilized process, but even those that utilize forage testing, I don't know that they always go about it the correct way to maximize the value associated with taking those samples. I think the biggest pitfall that we often run into with producers is quite simply they're not taking enough samples. So, maybe they test 1 or 2 bales out of a lot, or maybe even 1 or 2 bales out of everything they have for the entire winter. And so, I think first and foremost, we got to take plenty of samples. And when I say a lot, I mean that's every cutting from every field, because obviously we got different composition of forages in every field. And we're going to make multiple cuttings in most instances. So the big thing is we want to take 20 samples from every lot, so every cutting in every field if possible. Now that doesn't mean we're going to test 20 samples, we're going to make a composite sample out of those 20.
Okay.
But we need to take 20 random bales from any one field and any one cutting and put them into a single Ziploc baggie to send off for analysis.
Okay, so you go in, you take your 20 samples. Depending on the bale, is there a different type of sample? I mean, we always hear about the core sampling technique. Is that what we're going to do on this?
Yeah, we're essentially looking to get a core sample, something that's fairly representative of the entire bale. If you're looking at small square bales, typically we just set them on end lengthwise and just puncture right through that last flake of hay, so to speak. Now, the biggest thing is, I highly encourage producers to invest in some kind of hay coring probe. A lot of people do grab samples because they say that mimics what the cow's actually grabbing, but oftentimes we lose the leaves, we lose a lot of that high quality dry matter because we're just grabbing kind of the long stemmy stuff out of the bale. So highly encourage using a core sampler first and foremost, but with small squares or large squares we can just tap right into the end of the bale. If we're utilizing round bales, big thing is cut through the net wrap and then take a core sample 12 to 18 inches deep. Typically 18 is what I suggest.
Okay, so then you bring them back in these samples. Do you put all 20 of them into something and mix them up and then take a subsample of that, or do you just keep the 20?
It's completely up to what kind of probe you have and how much sample comes out in that probe. A lot of times I suggest producers put that in a bucket, mix it up, and then send off a quart bag full from that particular lot. Some samplers are set up and designed so basically over 20 samples you only actually pull a quart of material out of there. At the end of the day we want to send off about a quart's worth of material to the testing firm.
Okay, and then obviously when it gets there we have tests that you can request or
absolutely
things like that. All right. Well, folks, it's time for a break, time for commercials. Again, hay testing might be one of the most economical things you'll do for your beef herd this year. Make sure you do it. We're going to talk more with Dr. Gunn when we come back after these messages. We're on the road at Iowa State University. Stay tuned.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Tarwater Farm and Home has been family owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
This Prevention Works Minute, brought to you by Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medica, Inc.
Hey folks, welcome to our Prevention Works Minute. This is an outstanding segment, and I'm really glad that we're getting to do this when we talk about preventative medicine for cattle. Biosecurity is important, and a good key component to that is vaccination. When we vaccinate an animal, one thing you need to understand is that they do not work immediately. Matter of fact, it takes 7 to 14 days before the animal, once it's vaccinated, to actually start having an immune response that produces antibodies that are specific for a disease in which we would vaccinate them for. So if I vaccinate a calf for IBR, it's 7 to 14 days before that animal is protected or has antibody to neutralize IBR virus. Once we get out there to 14 to 21 days, the body has memory cells for IBR. That's why we give them a booster, and we get that booster in our titer response. Vaccines don't work immediately, but they're really good for prevention.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Person who's involved in ag production, cattle ranching, Bill Rischel here in North Platte, told me about Kansas regenerative medicine. And after talking to Dr. Pope, we did a lot of reading and researching, looking on the internet about it. I guess the thing that impressed me is that he told me, he said, if we don't think it's going to help you, we're not going to do it. And I thought that was a very good approach. I'm a former athlete, played college basketball, played overseas after college, had some severe trauma on the right ankle, right knee, joint in my hand also. This brace is what I had to wear all the time. Now I don't wear this during the day. That's a real improvement for me. My knee doesn't bother me. This joint came around quick. It was the first thing I noticed improving. You can see in the background here there's different fish and game that I hunt. Ability to walk was impacting my outdoor endeavors. I think it's really valuable, and encourage anybody that's interested to go down and at least do a consultation with them.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Patrick Gunn. We're at Iowa State University, and Dr. Gunn is the Extension cow-calf specialist for the state of Iowa, does a lot of work in cow-calf nutrition, production, management, and different areas. We're very thankful that he would take time out of his busy schedule during this time of the year to come and spend with us on an important topic. And Dr. Gunn, when we send a sample in to a laboratory, what are some of the tests and what are some of the things that we're going to be asking them to do?
Yeah, and it's really going to depend a lot from producer to producer what basic information we need. I think at a bare minimum, obviously we got to get our energy and we need our protein and if possible calcium and phosphorus just so we can kind of balance those macronutrients within the diet. and we can go about a lot of different ways. If you have a more conventional feedstuff such as silage or hay, NIR would be a perfectly acceptable way to go about testing that forage, and runs anywhere from $15 to $25 depending on the lab and how much you want to pack into it. If you have what I consider to be a less conventional feed resource like corn stover, maybe a really low quality CRP hay or something like that they don't have a lot of samples on file, we probably need to do a wet chemistry on that, which is going to be a little more costly, but I would still suggest that it's an extremely good return on investment.
So come back to me a little bit then, and let's explain to the viewers what the difference between an NIR and wet chemistry really is.
Yeah, and so NIR is really just computer automated. It's near infrared spectroscopy. Over time, we take the wet chemistry analysis that we have on multiple feedstuffs. They run 10, 20,000 samples through, and can calibrate the computer basically to take a snapshot of that feed resource and give us all the information we ever need on it. Unfortunately, when we're utilizing some of those less known or less widely used samples or feed resources, it's necessary to do that basic wet chemistry, kind of the traditional under the microscope on the lab bench type chemistry to get those energy and protein values, mineral values that we're looking for.
Gotcha. So feedstuffs that are common, we have a big reference lab.
Absolutely.
And so you really fine tune. It's kind of like anything. You get something in that you're not used to looking at, probably need to go back to the basics.
Yep. Absolutely.
Get that done. So you get the crude protein, you get the energy, you get the calcium, phosphorus. I assume vitamin A could be one of the vitamins that we might test for if we were going to look at anything.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to start adding some bells and whistles to the analysis, vitamin A and E I think would be really imperative, particularly if we're in drought-stressed regions or we're feeding some really low-quality forages that probably don't have vitamin A and E. I think that'd be imperative. Particularly here in the Midwest, we've seen a lot of vitamin A, vitamin E deficiencies around the time of calving the last couple of years. I think that'd be a good one. Depending on how you put up those forages, iron analysis, any other analyses that may be antagonist to your general micronutrient, micromineral program, I think that'd be a good addition as well in many instances.
Well, it's outstanding. And now when we come back with Dr. Gunn, we're going to talk about some of those scenarios out there that maybe when your hay comes back and it tests a little low or it tests just right, how you might handle some of that, how we might combat that and move forward with your cow herd in proper production. Thanks for watching DocTalk, folks. We're going to take a break. More with Dr. Gunn after these messages.
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your beef checkoff helps do that.
We are Mike and
Martha
Armitage here at the A-Bar Ranch, Claremore, Oklahoma. We have a cow-calf production company, and we also have a marketing company. We have entertained groups brought to us by the Beef Checkoff, such as South Korean media that covered our operation and brought the good news back to South Korea.
That was a really neat experience, and that we got to have young people from another country that we got to experience a lot of different things in their culture, but got to share our culture too.
We live on the Squaw Creek Ranch. Here is a division of the A-Bar Ranch.
As a wife and a mother, and also with my background in more of a health field, I look at just the nutritional value, and it's great that the Beef Checkoff offers that kind of information to the consumers that are out there.
We both are proud to come from agricultural, more specifically ranching backgrounds.
My dad is a part of the Beef Checkoff board, and so the Beef Checkoff has been something that we promote and that we support what it has to offer.
Not everybody who's in agriculture is tech savvy on Facebook and through social media. Most people in the city happen to be, and they are very disconnected from our day-to-day routines. And that's one thing that makes me proud of the Beef Checkoff, them going to bat for us, from those who aren't necessarily anti-ag, but just simply don't know and they aren't getting the information.
As producers, we're strong supporters of that and hope that many of you out there realize all of the different things that the Beef Checkoff brings to the table for us as producers.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide, presented by Lucas Oil, featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV, the all-new Better Horses Network.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help? How can we help?
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook or Twitter.
Howdy folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Patrick Gunn. We're in Ames, Iowa at Iowa State University, and Dr. Gunn is the Extension Cow-Calf Specialist and Ruminant Nutritionist. Does a lot of work. We're in cow-calf nutrition and production. We're talking about hay sampling. And, you know, in the winter time, folks, when we don't have grass, we don't have crop residues anymore, and we're supplementing hay and we're feeding those cows hay, you know, what happens when I get my hay test back? Now what do I do?
Good question, because I think that's one of the biggest issues. We get people to take the sample and then you got to utilize it, right? I mean, we got to put that investment to work for us. And so I think the big thing is you know, just seeking out who can help me with that. You know, whether it's your local extension agent, whether it's a nutritionist, you know, both of those individuals should be able to work with you. You know, if you like pushing the pencil to paper and want to do some of your own supplementation schemes, that's fine too. But I think the biggest thing is we got to utilize the information that we've got at our fingertips. And, you know, first and foremost, figuring out, is that hay going to meet the requirement for those cows at a given stage of production? If not, obviously we got to come up with some kind of supplementation scheme. And, you know, since we're investing the money and it should be all about dollars and cents, you know, what's the lowest cost way to get us there to meet our demands for those cows? I think on the flip side of things, and, you know, the further northeast and maybe Midwest we get a lot of producers that actually have hay that's probably way better quality than what they need for their cow herd. And so to combat that, how do we get around that? Whether that's moving to a TMR and limit feeding, whether it's, you know, just doing night feeding or restricting access to that hay. I think the big thing is sitting down with a nutritionist or your local extension agent and developing that supplementation or that limit fed scheme that best utilizes the resources that you have available to you.
Absolutely, and you know, I think about, you know, we live in the Midwest and area, there's so many things to supplement with. That if you need it, there's byproduct feeds and different things that we can go out and grab that make pretty good supplements.
Absolutely.
And also, if you have something, hay that's too good, we have some, you know, we're around a lot of grain, we're around a lot of different things where we can blend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, so I mean, whether it's your local co-products, whether it's corn, I mean, whatever's the most advantageous and most cost-effective for your operation, you know, no one supplementation scheme is going to be the same. The big thing is that we take the forage analysis, that's the bulk of the diet, and make sure we develop the rest of the diet around there in as cost-effective manner as possible.
Perfect. Well, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Folks, thanks for watching DocTalk. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian and your local nutritionist. If you want to know more about what we do on DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Thanks for watching the show today, folks. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson signing off from Ames, Iowa at Iowa State University, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.